What's up, World Cup? Yet again in this particular weekend show on cricket.com, and
And
you're
that
joining
is
me,
just how
Avanish, right
the
now.
game have been. That we have Avanish who's absolutely stuck. I don't know if it's
Really? Am
just
I
me.
stuck all of a sudden? Can you guys hear me?
No, I can. You're moving fine to me. Looks fine
Okay,
to
I
me.
hope that I'm moving fine, but that's apologetic start if it is, of course, a frozen one. But good to see you, Nikhil and Pramod. I apologize if my internet is terrible, but right now for me it seems perfect, crystal clear, if I may add. We're going to be, of course, discussing two great games which went on yesterday. England South Africa, brilliant game. South Africa winning by 7 runs, and then of course the USA playing the co-hosts West Indies, and West Indies absolutely romping home in that one by 9 wickets. And there's more to talk about with these two boys. So, of course, let me quickly get the introductions out of the way. How's a Friday night for y'all? I know mine, as y'all can evidently see, was a heavy one. What did you guys end up doing? Pramod, did you watch Netherlands France?
Actually, no, I didn't. Actually, I didn't even know there was Netherlands France yesterday. Was that the game that finished goalless?
Yes.
Yeah. I just know. I just know the result. I was just watching. I thought. I think the hindsight. I think I made the right call.
Indeed. Nikhil, how was your Friday night?
But we just saw the England game and then dozed off because had to get up very early. So just finding a way to manage those time zones. It's great because you have no clue. I have no clue which time zone I'm living in, but it's okay. This rarely comes, and we are privileged to do it.
No, indeed. I was actually contemplating two plans. Either watch the football / go out. I ended up going out, but there's a lot of things to binge watch this weekend. If you guys know, you know. Right, enough of the fluff. Let's get on with it and dissect those games. And hey, to Introspect, who is, of course, the first comment of the day. And we will, of course, talk about everything Introspect. A little bit of football if you guys want that as well. Right, about last night then, lots went on. Not in terms of the songs I sang in the karaoke, but of course with South Africa, England. Let's quickly talk about that and much more in the first segment. Right, it was always going to be a pivotal clash given that both these teams won their first games in the Super 8. England, of course, beating West Indies first up, and then South Africa beating the USA. But this time, England was still going to be heading favourites, even though South Africa had got 5 wins before this. They made it 6 now, and they're really, really looking good. Let's quickly recap it for you all, because this is how the summary, of course, turned out to be out there. And again, everyone thought at the time that South Africa, in the way they batted, 163 for 6, probably were 20 runs below par, but then it was some good bowling, especially in the last 3 overs of that game. If you guys saw the chase, you might have thought for a second Bartman would have let the game slip with that over of, I think he bowled 4 full tosses, but nevertheless, Jansen, Rabada, and Nokia equally pulled it back, and it was fantastic to see. So South Africa winning by 7 runs, and Maharaj over there, that 2 for 25 was super, super important because he got the big fish out, Bairstow and Butler, and both of them chewed up so many dot balls, 17 in particular, which probably, in hindsight and reflection, that could have cost England the game. Right, there were some stunning catches, stunning moments in the game. We'll speak about it with the boys right now. I'll start with Nikhil. Nick, 7-run win. In hindsight, it does South Africa a world of good. But what about England? Do you think they had the game in the hand? Did they let it slip? How did you look at the game last night?
So many what ifs and what the ifs, to be very, very honest with you. So I have not seen any international side be so horrible in a span of 3 overs where they concede 52 runs. 52 runs, and this is not that it was Andile bowling or somebody else bowling. This was Nokia, Rabada, and Batman. And suddenly it's like, dude, I think we are playing in Cape Town. Let's just hit the deck. Dude, what are you doing? For 14 overs, they were right in the game. And I'll tell you why it's very important. West Indies have won on a canter today. Now, what that win does is it makes the West Indies South Africa game a knockout. England are most likely to beat US by a decent margin. Those runs will come back to hound South Africa that they had to win big. They had to win big against US also. They had to win big against England also. Eventually, yes, they'll take the win thanks to, I think, the clutch catch from Markram. He did that against Bangladesh as well, and he did yesterday. So they've been getting out of jail, but they'll have to get it once again in the next time. But for yesterday, they just saved it somehow. I have no clue. I don't think even they have any idea how they got out of it, because, as you said, this was there. It's like both teams saying, "Oh, Riza saying, I don't want it. You take it." English like, "Oh no, you please keep it. I don't want it." And then eventually, based on it, they're all like, "Chhod yaar, whoever wants to take it, take it." And it's just mad how Brook, out of nowhere, I mean, it is like somebody just switched and he just kept getting boundaries out of nowhere. And the catch, I think, probably the decider there. England will probably rule, but they are better placed to make it to the semis, so I don't think they'll mind much.
Yeah, the catch was sensational given the situation around it as well. Harry Brooks, such an important wicket, and I think Nokia was who, of course, got that wicket, and also by doing so has taken a wicket in every T20 World Cup game he's played, which is 16 games back to back, overtaking Graham Swan, beloved cricket.com host that is. Pramod, there was another blinder of a catch, maybe more, because I think about even Phil Salt departing early on and Reza Hendricks blinder in the circle. What do you think dictated the game in terms of the eventual result? Because at one point in time when I was at the karaoke bar, I was watching the game and I'm thinking to myself, how the hell is Harry Brook kind of, getting this game done for England? But then those last 3 overs, do you think England were complacent? 25 the last 3, it should be a walk in the park, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it is. I think the penultimate over that I think Marco Janssen bowled, I think he considered like 5 or 6. I think I think that sort of more or less confirmed South Africa's win from there. But then you have to give it to Markram as well. What a catch that was, and under what circumstances he took that. Those were truly phenomenal. And another key point in the game, if you will, was when Mark would grasp that catch of De Kock. I was just checking. I think De Kock went on to score another 7 or 8 runs more, and that turned out to be the margin of defeat. So small things like that. But yeah, it was a convincing performance from South Africa, at least in terms of their fielding. Bowling, yeah, those 2-3 patches of 2-3 overs that they should have kept under control probably. And those four full tosses from Bartman, man. How did each one of them not go into the stands? So yeah, some sloppy in between that could have and should have actually cost them in the end. But they'll take these 2 points and take on the West Indies next happily.
Yeah, you almost think that South Africa inevitable now to make the semi-finals, and England, of course, play the USA. So it's going to go down to the wire, you feel, in this particular group. Remember, if you guys are just joining us, please comment. Please, of course, like this video and tell us how much you're looking forward to the India-Bangladesh game. We're going to be doing the watch-along tonight, so join us for that. And, of course, get your comments in right now. And, of course, then, just again, a reflection. So England winning the toss, but not, of course, getting over the line. And you feel that Maharaj was exceptional for 2 for 25, but everyone was been talking about Quinton de Kock because he did take Archer down for a lot of runs in his first over. Eventually got 65 of 38. And just, again, right time that Quinton de Kock is firing for South Africa. We didn't see him that much in that group stage, but the pitches are dodgy as well, so you could understand it. But yesterday, he was literally playing some sublime shots. So from a South African perspective, Nix, 6 on the bounce. Why can't we all just say right now that they might make the final or eventually win the competition? Is that something that you'd like to think? Or because it's the Proteas, because it's South Africa, because it's, dare I say, the chokers, people are not getting that oomph, that connection yet?
I mean, people should have already got it now. You rarely see South Africa not blow up any of those games. And to be honest, it's just the first game where Sri Lanka was probably the easiest one. Every other game, you could have easily seen any other South African and said, just lose it. And for no fault of theirs, it's something just happened. But against Bangladesh, against Nepal, things have just happened for them. Gulshan Jar gets hit on the back. He's ball watching. They get a wicket. Mahmudullah hits a great shot, but Makram takes the catch. 13 needed, and Brook isn't able to connect. Again, hitting with the wind. Nokia is still bowling pace on. It still has just worked out in South Africa's favor. So, as much I want that to happen in terms of South Africa claiming it, they still have the West Indies game. Now, this is just how, I wouldn't say how Australia won the 2021 one, but they have found heroes every game. And remember, Klaasen is yet to hit form. Miller had a good knock yesterday. Miller also ran out Henry's Klaasen. That was absolutely, I mean, so many, as I said, what the F moment said, what are you doing? Why are you running when you can just stay there and hit 10 more boundaries? But as I said, things have just worked out for South Africa and they'll always take it because they've had now everybody chipping in. As Pramod pointed out, Janssen bowling that over. Of all the people in that South Africa lineup, even if you ask me 100 times, I would still not name Janssen. So it just tells you how much on that very given day, in that moment, they've been able to find heroes. I think a lot of this also goes down to Markram. We don't hear a lot about his captaincy, but I'm presuming at my end that it is playing a lot of it is playing a key role for them to be together. He bowls that one over, which allows them to not bowl Bartman at the back end. So they're using things right. They have the West Indies game. They haven't been convincing, but you don't have to be convincing. T20 is such a fickle format that you can err and still win. And if they want to win the final, I am not going to be the one that is complaining. I am more than happy for that.
Yeah, because more often than not, you of course picked the Proteas to win the competition. So let's see how that goes. Let me just quickly share the match story from last night, which is available in the written form of things. And this one, I think, is by Hardik Warrior. Maharaj, South Africa, and the art of defending totals. Now, the first word in that headline is pretty much the name that I want to talk about in the next 2 minutes, Pramod, because you look at his spells so far in this year's World Cup, it's quite ridiculous. So against the Sri Lankans, there was 2 for 22 in his 4. Against Netherlands, none for 24 in his 4. Then against Bangladesh, 3 for 27 in his 4 overs. Against the USA, 1 for 24 in his 4. And last night, 2 for 25 in his 4. So, I mean, is Maharaj honestly showing why he's the best spinner right now in the T20 World Cup? Or is there another one who gives him a run for his money?
Probably Adil Rashid comes second close, but I think yesterday among the battle of the two, I think Maharaj sort of took home the honors. I can say, yeah. The thing with him, and I think most of the spinners, the good performing spinners, is that consistency to hit that length area and allow the sort of the pitch to do the rest. I think that's been the highlight of those well performing spinners in this tournament. If you look at even someone like who did Roston Chase, for instance, did well today, or any other spinner you pick, you will find a high percentage of balls hitting consistently hitting on that length, and just the bowlers just sort of play around with the line and just a little bit according to the situation. So I think that's what Maharaj also has been doing, and he's very key to this lineup in a way. You have South Africa have those pace battery, who can touch 140, 145, 150. That's all sort of many talk about the team. But then here you have one guy who is bowling these amazing slow spinners, and even that is also proving to be equally effective for the team, and it is doing the job for South Africa. So you cannot sort of brush under the carpet the importance of Maharaj in the South African lineup. He's as important as your Karabada or your Nokia, for that matter, and he's doing that consistently, and he's been doing that for a long period of time, which bodes well as now South Africa going to maybe now they go into the business end of sort of the tournament, needing to win the last game, and if they make it through the remaining two as well. So it's good to have him, Maharaj, especially in good form.
I'm surprised that the RR admin hasn't made some cheeky sort of social media posts for Maharaj, because he's been absolutely killing it. Now, what's bizarre, and I say that because South Africa, they've got 2 out of 2 so far in the Super 8s. But Pramod shares me an article right now which reads this: South Africa 1 loss away from elimination despite perfect start. Now, let me just go into the nitty-gritties of this article, because it says, how can South Africa be eliminated from here, right? So as it stands, 4 points, net run rate, you look at it, they're way, way good in terms of being positive. Points, 0.625, that is. The West Indies and England, though, have a better net run rate. I know England is slightly lower after their defeat. So if South Africa will be knocked out, England have to beat USA, and I think that'll probably be there. West Indies beat South Africa, and the margin of victory doesn't matter here, so that's important to note. But that being said, South Africa will progress if you guys, of course, do the math and then look at it from a US perspective, beating England, or if that other one gets washed out. So there could be a chance that the Proteas could go out, and that's quite ridiculous in terms of how this World Cup is shaping up. Nick, I mean, is that bizarre? The fact that South Africa have got 6 wins, 4 in the group stage, and then 2, of course, in the Super 8. It just makes you think, why the hell didn't they carry forward points? Because it'll be a tough one to take for Proteas if they lose to West Indies and then England beat USA and all of that stuff happens.
both ways to look at it, but I will be very honest and say that they could have simply lost a couple of those games and wouldn't have made it. They would have gotten a shocker from USA itself in the very first game of the Super 8. So this is the downside of a tight tournament where you can't be winning close games, especially when your opponents are smashing them around. Now, had West Indies and England, if they both have games where they don't beat USA by a bigger margin, then this wouldn't have happened. But because West Indies has smashed today and by Shai Hope, I mean, what a mad day to be covering cricket. But that's what the game is all about, and it's why I said at the start of the video that you have to win big. When you get into positions of strength, you have to close the game out earlier, and you don't do it. You win on the last ball. It's good for the drama, but then it's not going to help your team. So even in the next game, if they beat West Indies on the last ball, I don't think they care. You win, you go through, you lose. You've got yourself into a situation by your own doing. It's not that somebody else. It's not like England would have been knocked out by rain. So and of course there is a rain forecast for the USA England game, so it could still happen. But then those are not controllable. So which is why I said those margin of victories, whether it is against Nepal, whether it is against Sri Lanka or any other game, see Chennai suffered the same fate in the IPL. We came down to the last game. You had to win by a certain margin to qualify. You don't do it, you don't do it, you don't deserve it. So it may be harsh, but the simpler way to do it is win and go through.
Yeah, actually, if you read the start of that article, it says even in 2007, something similar like that happened to South Africa. They won 4 in a row and they lost by a huge margin, I think, to India in that game, and they failed. And as a result, I think New Zealand made it through ahead of them. So, could be a sense of deja vu for South Africa this time too.
Yeah, man, South Africa fans would be hoping that, that monkey's off their back, but who am I to say? Because we'd like to see them win, let's be honest. All the cricket fan in us would probably like to see the men in green win, but again, whether that happens or not, only time will tell. Right, there was another game last night, or rather this morning, and that was the USA and the West Indies. We expected more from that game. There was, of course, a couple of good performances from the USA, but they went down in an absolute clanger. The fact that, like Nick's mentioned, Shai Hope just doing Shai Hope things, and often Chase coming to the party again, and the West Indies just showing why they're such a well-oiled unit heading into the business end of this tournament. Let's deflect that game for you next, because if you look at the summary, Rob Manpal had, again, no problems in winning the toss and inserting the USA in, and it was that man again who's now got 200 plus runs in the tournament, Andres Gauss for the US of A, 29 of 16 before Alzari Joseph sussed him out, who got amongst the wickets. Russell again, 3 for 31, like I mentioned, 3 for 19 for Austin Chase, who got some critical blows in that particular innings. In reply, West Indies absolutely comprehensive. I mean, within the 11th over, getting the job done. And Johnson Charles, all right, but Shai Hope was a talk of the town last night, and why not? Because 82 of 39, and look at that. 8 sixes, 4 fours, a strike rate of 210. What a way to make a statement in terms of just cementing that position. Lots of people say, bring back Kyle Mayers, but Shai Hope is just like, listen, man, I'm still around. There was another, of course, good performance from a bowling perspective, like I just mentioned, Austin Chase. Pramod just mentioned it as well when we were talking about the spinners. And he's definitely in the conversation of top spinners in this World Cup. I know the guys in the comments were mentioning Zampa as well, but you can't ignore Chase, especially after performances like this. 3 for 19, albeit against the USA, but still, the job needed to be done. Right, I'll start with Pramod here with regards to the USA-West Indies game. Was there ever any hope for the USA? Because they lost the toss, and eventually you felt that they lose the game. But, I mean, 128 was never going to threaten the West Indies.
Yeah, I mean, any other team I would have said probably no chance. But then this is the USA team that has time and again, proved us wrong in this tournament. So I was hoping for something similar. I think the way that Andreas Ghost started off, I thought he's going to again tee off once again. Tee off once again. But unfortunately, I think he got out at a wrong time. I think that's when and the entire momentum sort of shifted in West Indies' favor, and then you had someone like Austin Chase coming in and completely choking the middle order. And I think since Gauss got out, I don't think they even got run a ball from there for the last 12 overs or so. So it was a disappointing performance with the bat, but I expected a little better from on the bowling front. Unfortunately, it did not happen. Today's the day. I think Shai Hope decided, okay, let's just put the debate of who gets to open to bed today, and that's what I did, and it was an absolute treat to watch him play today.
Yeah, absolute treat. By the way, the game, which of course happened last night, the USA West Indies game, it also meant that I think 412 sixes or something right now in this World Cup, which is the most in a single edition. The previous one had, I think, 405 in the 2021 World Cup. So again, the game is going and evolving at a rapid pace, and it's clear with the amount of sixes being hit. Now, also just a couple of more and data points to give you from that chase, because if you look at it from a most balls remaining in a successful 100-plus chase in the T20 World Cup, West Indies had 55 balls remaining, which is the second best. It was only Australia, Sri Lanka, and Cape Town 2007 where it still holds that record. Most sixes in a T20 World Cup innings. Yesterday, we saw Shai Hope at 8, but there's still so many other batters who've hit more. Gale, for example, hit 11 against the English in Mumbai in 2016. And the last one, to just whet the appetite for all the stat lovers out there, most sixes in a T20 World Cup edition, and Pooran has the record right now. 17 he's mustered so far in this competition, overtaking Chris Gale in 2012. Nikhil, let me come to you, because was it just a reality check then for the USA? Yes, they'll still be basking in that Pakistan win and plenty of positives to take, but is this where the road just ends and where it just gets really hard? Thanks for participating. Thanks for the memories, but it's time to say goodbye almost.
It is bittersweet. And again, I don't think it is sweet from any chance that, okay, there's always that romanticized the story that it was great to see them. But as Pramod said, I was very hopelessly positive. 48 for 1 after 6 overs means, bro, you are cooking, to say the word in terms of the slangs, that they're doing so well. And you saw Russell ko jo Gauss ne back foot punch mara, bro. You could wait and see it every single day. So you felt he had to bat deep. Very surprising also from the US front that Aaron Jones just wanted to take on Chase first ball. I'm all for intent, but I think at some point of time we'll have to just be better in terms of negotiating that situation. So I think still I would probably feel that I've seen a lot more positives from US in terms of how they've approached the games, because you would say, okay, a side has made it on the back of an upset. They are probably not ready to handle that pace. Or Akil Hussain, they played him out so well. There's no threat from Akil Hussain. Gutikesh Moti also wasn't bold because there was a lefty. So they were playing mind games. So US were there in the game, but they needed some more runs to just be in the position of threatening even with the ball. And I think Shai Hope just killed it completely after his assault in the power play. But I think what is the key point for USA is the form of the middle order. Nitish, Millen, Corey Anderson, bro, you'll have to really pull up weight there, because if you have a season like that, he's probably faced only 37 balls. And ironically, he scored a 36-ball turn against West Indies. So you cannot have your key batter in the middle overs just not stepping up at all. So that if any team goes through that, they'll all suffer the same fate. So I think still a lot more positive. What I'm hoping for is a lot more games for them, because they are not slated to play anything till the next World Cup. And that is not going to help them. They'll have to get a few more games. So hopefully some sides can help them out with those fixtures. As Pramod said, with the ball also, they were there. They got Jasdeep out. They had Chadley back. But the more they play, the better they'll get. So again, romantically hopeful that they can still pull up a good performances going into that World Cup, and they still have a game. And of course, USA, England. Who do you think people are going to support?
I mean, I know, for example, if they pull off something special in that game, it'll be brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But I still like the fact that the English ruled us, not the Americans. I mean,
and actually, see, at the start of the tournament, if you had told the US, you'll finish in the top 8 and you'll qualify for the next World Cup, they would have taken it hands down. So in a way, for them, the sort of mission accomplished for them in a way, probably.
No, indeed, 100%. By the way, some more comments to take, and I know Akash Suresh has been making his point about the West Indian opening spots, and Pramod has made his point as well in terms of not just right now, but also this article that he's, of course, penciled in, which is available on the app and the website. Go check it out. And Pramod, I just want to ask you here, because you've, of course, given some good sort of context with regards to Shai Hope, the opener, as you've just literally mentioned there in one of your first lines, the fact that he's opened just 6 times in T20 cricket since 2022, and he's just taken in like a duck to water yesterday. So what is it with Shai Hope, and do you think he's an upgrade on Brandon King?
I mean, see, if Brandon King was fit, I don't think Shai Hope would have definitely opened. But I'm sure that there was an argument in terms of probably replacing Johnson Charles. I think after today, I think that is something that's going to happen with Kyle Mayers being included in the side in place of Brandon King. Kyle Mayers is probably going to slot straight in the next game. Yeah, I think this is. I don't think Hope when he was picked in the tournament was sort of would have had any hopes of probably opening the innings. Probably he was slotted in at probably 3, 4, or 5, but nothing above that. So in that aspect, the Hope, the way he played, would have definitely given him and West Indies confidence. Clearly, they've not gone by the recent stats saying that okay, he's not open, let's not go with him. But they just saw an opportunity to give him a go, and they know his qualities. They know what good player he is, and he sort of repaid that sort of confidence in him. He was decent even against Afghanistan in that one innings he played. I think a couple of good sixes that he hit. I vaguely remember. But then he had to make way because Roston Chase was coming in, and he sort of adds a different balance sort of to the side. So, but I think with King's injury, it just has given him a new lease of life, if you will, to sort of reinvent himself as an opener.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good article. And there's another article which I'll showcase in just a minute. But Akash Suresh, love the energy that you always show in the WhatsApp World Cup comment box, because you go say, Pramod got humbled by the West Indies. He was reacting yesterday as if USA will win this match. Look, we're all hopeful. We wanted the USA to kind of, upset the West Indies, but it was never going to be. Like, for example, the USA-England game, like Nick was just talking about, we would have all loved to see USA just sign off with a win against England and get a scalp of England in their World Cup history. US team is lucky to be in the Super 8, reckons Greg K. Greg, thank you so much for joining us. It's, of course, you're entitled to your opinion. I know lots of people might be thinking, why the hell are New Zealand not there, Sri Lanka not there? But it is what it is. The World Cup, of course, has given us so much to consider. Right, just a word on the West Indian spinners then, and this particular article, which I'd like to just quickly talk about, because it is so true, Nikhil Popat, with regards to what this statement means. If Hussain Moti doesn't get you, Roston Chase will. And by the looks of things, how important will this spin trio be to potentially give West Indies their third World Cup? Do you think these three will make the difference, Nikhil?
Well, I called him West Indies more nearly in the preview yesterday itself, just telling you why he can do what he did today. And it is not a surprise that it came on the same venue where he took an 8 for his career best figures in Test match cricket. So he's very smart. You see the way he bowled to Jones. You see the first ball that he bowled to Harmeet. That's what you are looking forward to. And you can look at the article, the groupings that are there. That is as good as it can get. So what West Indies, what we also at times discuss about India, right? Just to give an example, that can you pick Jadeja and Akshar in the same side? Can you pick Akil Hussain and Gutukesh Modi? That's not the same conversation. Akil Hussain is a proper new ball 3 overs bowler. Gutukesh Modi is the guy that you can use in the middle overs and also at the back end. So that is two different skill sets covered, well covered. And of course, then you're getting Chase, who is a very good matchup bowler. Now today, I was personally very, not from the fantasy angle, that all the specialists didn't complete their overs. And the two all-rounders who did not have to bowl at all ended up with 3 wickets. But that's the freedom that you want the bowling team to have. That I would ideally personally back Gutukesh Modi a bit more. Yes, he has struggled against left-handed batters, but you'd at least trust him versus US a bit more. But we know how the teams think. It's probably in an ideal world that you'd want them to just get better at it. So the fact that you have something like a Chase, say, if they go on to play South Africa, Chase can open the bowling. There is no problem against Riza anyways doesn't want to hit. So Quinton can be the guy who can get out to him. And Quinton has got out to more than 6 times. So all these small roles play a key part in them just getting that extra over at the back end. That Oben Maka did bowl only 2 overs. He was brought into the game. So it's a problem of riches. but it's a problem of riches for the right reason, and it's better to have people in form. So I think these three are very important, and of course they are going to play in conditions that they play day in day out. So goes without saying that they will be very very critical in the next game itself. Forget the knockouts. In the South Africa game itself, they will be massive.
In fact,
Yeah, you mentioned.
sorry, one of the things that I mentioned in the article is also the pace at which Chase bowls. The one that got Corey Anderson was, I think, like 109 kilometers per hour, which just went with the arm and trapped him in front. And Harmeet Singh comes in next ball, and probably expecting something similar, and it's a very slow 90 odd kilometers per hour. He just so that's a massive, and he edges it to backward point. So these small sort of variations, very difficult to sort of pick in the game, but they do make a difference in terms of getting rid of the batters.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen it over the years in West Indian cricket, how they've had all these fast off-break bowlers. Marlon Sam will come to mind, Carl Hooper, Chris Gale. But Roston Chase, just playing his 18th T20 international, he's already got a lot of wickets. And he's, of course, started with the bat as well. I think one game he got home against a PNG, was it? Where he started in the chase, PNG. Roston, that is. Really quickly then, just to wrap up proceedings, and before we look ahead to today's games, it has to be mentioned that West Indies are looking very, very good. And whether they meet India or Australia in the semi-finals/finals, they're poised for greater things indeed. Akash Suresh quickly asking us, why not play Shamar Joseph, as he's more of an attacking bowler, whereas Ubid is more dependent on swing. It could be better to play Shamar, but I don't see them making a change. Neither do I. And I just think Ubid has that left arm tax, so he's just going to be thrown in. He just bowled the 2 overs yesterday, like Nick's mentioned, but they're going to use him whenever they're going to use him. And depending on the matchups, Nick's just mentioned that if West Indies take on South Africa, it'll be interesting to see how Chase could open the bowling. I'm saying against Australia as well, against Head and Warner, if that could be a potential option for Rahman Powell. Right, time to look ahead then, because there's some great games, of course, this weekend, and it starts today with India, Bangladesh. So what are we waiting for? Let's, of course, forecast a little bit. Right, so it is, of course, back to India's group then, and they take on Bangladesh, and it comes at 8 p.m. from the Sir Richards Stadium. So it'll be a good one to check out what's going to happen in that subcontinental clash. And then, of course, there's Afghanistan versus Australia, which is later on in the morning on Sunday. So, look, 2 great games from this group. Remember, India and Australia are getting the points so far. So if Bangladesh and Afghanistan need to stay alive, we need to see some upsets. Can these upsets happen? Well, let's ask the boys. Nikhil, I'll start with you. India, Bangladesh. I don't think we've ever lost to Bangladesh in a World Cup.
No.
Have we?
No, World Cup, no. Overall, I think we've just lost once. And I think for all the...
Oh, we lost to them in the ODI World Cup, right? That Mushfiqur in 2007.
I think we've just lost to them once. I can't recall which game, but I think we've lost to them once. So, but World Cup, not so much. And coming to the point of can there be upset, I think it depends in the power play with the bat for India. That is the only place that I feel that, again, not wanting to be overconfident, but it's an area where we haven't clicked in terms of India's openers haven't clicked. And I don't mind Mehdi Hasan bowling in the power play today. Please do it. Don't bowl Tanzim Shakib, don't bowl Taskin Ahmed, because left arm matchup hai Mustafa ka mat dalo, koi wanda nahi. So that is the one place where I'm looking forward to see how they go. The batting is a problem for Bangladesh, and I'm hoping they use Shakib better. I know we've all ranted enough on how dependent they are on him, but अब वो है तो उसको use सही से करना चाहिए. So बिल्कुल I agree, Blitz by India are overrated, because if you're not, then you'll have to have one more fielder in the ring. So you have to be very, very good with the overage there. But jokes apart, yeah, I think the batting, if Bangladesh batting steps up, then we should have a good game. Looking forward to the battle between Shivam Dube and Rashad Hussain, because this could potentially be the last chance for Shivam to really come good, because now everybody else has had a good hit. Hardik has had a good hit. Sky has performed in a couple of games. Aksar has come good when he's been promoted. Jadeja, I don't think we care too much about him. So it's
one
only
feeling medal, man.
That's what he lifted Rahul Dravid. Thank you. I want this. Just keep me for this. I'm happy with that. But I think this is a massive game for Shivam Dubey. And I'm just genuinely hoping he comes through.
Yeah, it's a trial, like Nick's mentioned, for Dubey. And of course, India still want to see a certain couple of things being ticked off before they head into the semi-finals. I know they have an important clash against Australia on Monday, and many people think Virat's deserving his best for that day. But how they would love it if Rohit and Virat just get some runs, get a partnership going, because they are going to be opening. And only time will tell if they bat first like they did against Afghanistan. I'll get to Pramod in just a bit. But sports fans saying India-Bangladesh have always been close games for some reason, but Bangladesh somehow are not able to cross the line. I agree with that. Think about 2016 in that MS Dhoni game, which is probably the most famous India-Bangladesh game, or maybe the Nihadas one, asked Dinesh Karthik. Bangladesh can only win if the pitch is spin-friendly and get lucky, saying Greg K. And as South Africa and India top their groups, they will play in the semis, saying Blitz 777. Blitz, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and we appreciate your comments as well. And finally, Alkash today saying, I feel really bad for how the BCB manages their players. I pity them regardless of them having a huge fan base. They've never been able to push above their weight. They have, of course, done really well this World Cup so far, Pramod. The fact that, yes, Tanzim, Tashkin, and Mustafizur have been brilliant in their respective roles. They've unearthed a leg spinner, Rishad Hussain. Todd Ridoy has been doing wonderful things for them in the last 6 to 8, 10 months. Nix has been, of course, calling it right through his journey. But somehow, when they, of course, take on the likes of Australia, we saw the other day, they're taking on India today, they just get pumped. Why do you think that is? Do you think, again, there's a gulf in class between Bangladesh and all the top teams?
No, I mean, that can't be the same. That can't be the reason for their poor show across so many years, right? Something has to change. And I think if you just look at this tournament, I think we've discussed this in the past, is that the batting, of course, is not clicking. And last game, especially, as Nikhil mentioned, the way Shakib was used was, was criminal. Didn't bowl a single over, and he batted, 6 or 7. I mean, that's not where you play your best batter and potentially your best spinner. I mean, you don't bowl your best spinner as well. So, yeah, like in the sense, when something goes right for them, I think something else sort of falters. Najmul Shanto was among the runs last game, but then other than him and Hridoy, they were practically single-digit numbers. And in this tournament, you've seen their bowlers time and again sort of step up and deliver. And when they do, the batsmen don't sort of live up to their end of the bargain. So nothing nothing is clicking together for Bangladesh. There's something or the other that's gone awfully wrong for them in all the games. And if this keeps happening, I don't see. I mean, when will Bangladesh really be top contenders? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem likely in the near future.
Yeah, and even Akash jumping into the chat saying, if you see Bangladesh, you can name a batsman that they produce except Tamim Iqbal, Shakib, Mushfiqur. They've never really taken the initiative to stick on and groom, which is ridiculous. Yeah, and even, for example, Mehmudullah, and that was a mad stat that Nikhil showcased earlier in the group the other day. The fact that he's been involved in 6 fucking hat-tricks in his life, most by any cricketer to down this game, which is madness. I just want to ask Nix about the venue, because I know he'll, of course, shed light in his Fantasy Center preview, which, of course, is later on in the day. So go check him out for that. But Nix, Antigua, and I think it's been one of the low-scoring venues this T20 World Cup. I know the Australia-Bangladesh game happened there, and it was, of course, rain-induced. Do you think it's going to be one of those 130, 140 sort of games, and then India will win it, I'm guessing, but it could be a lower-scoring game than what we're presuming?
Yeah, and I think if you ask Bangladesh, I don't think they'll mind that. I think it probably just reduces the gulf in terms of the batting that is needed there. Of course, you'd still, as you said, you'd still back India to really come good 99 out of 100 times in that contest. But the bowling that Bangladesh have, I think the catch here for Bangladesh is going to be their bowling. If the bowling can set it up, and again, it has to be while bowling first. See, in chase, if India know they have to chase something, they are going to plan it far differently. But that won't be the case if they are batting first. So I think toss is going to be very important, not from the pitch and venue situation, but from the way that Bangladesh usually play their cricket. So it's what happened in the last game, right? They got 140, and you still felt, okay, even if it's Australia, they have a slim chance, slim chance if they take a few early. So then that is more to chance. But if they know they are only having to chase 130, then the pressure is a lot more on India to defend that score. So if it is a low-scoring game, I think India had a low-scoring game in Barbados as well. So India are now well versed to conditions like those, but they'll have to adapt quickly. We saw that in the last game also, where Rohit also went too hard too early. So I'm hoping India are able to recalibrate very, very well, that we may not be needing the 170, 160, target 150. In that process, if you end up with 170, great. So hoping that is the case for India today as well, because India need the openers to fire. It can't happen that you go into, if you win, you go into the semi-final without your opener scoring. It will then just suddenly put a lot of pressure on the side. So from India's point of view, I don't think they mind it. I don't expect any changes also. So yeah, let's see.
I think Rohit Sharma is going to fire today. I think he always has a liking against Bangladesh, and hopefully that comes true. I'm not jinxing it, but fingers
It
crossed.
is my big tip as well. So that's a good teaser.
Oh, amazing. Super. And like you just kind of indicated earlier, the fact that maybe the matchup is there with Mustafizur earlier on, but I don't think he's going to be used straight up.
Yeah.
Do you think India will win against Australia saying blitz? I think it will, but of course, anything can happen in T20 cricket. For India, can Sanju come and place a Dubey? I don't think they're going to make that switch. Dubey, of course, like Nick said, like Pramod mentioned, he will get a longer rope, and they don't want to, like, introduce a new guy into this scheme of things right now, because if they had to, they would have already done that. And Muthu VMR, I think it's going to be another convincing win for India. Afghanistan, Australia is going to be more spicy. Consider the pitch and conditions of St. Vincent. And St. Vincent is probably the best play to play cricket on the planet. I know people will say certain parts of New Zealand and certain parts of South Africa, but St. Vincent, it is so close to the beach. It's almost right outside the stadium where the waves are just kind of gushing through on the periphery of the boundary. It's absolutely brilliant. And it just makes you think about the venue. We'll talk about Afghanistan, Australia in just a bit. But kind reminder, later on in just about 7 hours, 18 minutes time, we're going to be doing the watch along India, Bangladesh for that. So join us and, of course, ask us anything. We will, of course, be talking about the game itself, reacting. There's going to be like a lot of comical elements as usual. So please join us at 8 p.m. today, India, Bangladesh, for the watch along. And if you guys are enjoying this content, like it right now, because we are already above 90,000 subscribers on YouTube, and we would love for you all to be part of a community. So please do that indeed. Newlands is the best venue. I mean, sure, in terms of that tabletop mountain and everything, Blitz, but just look at St. Vincent and some of the shots. We've already seen 3 games there is. The Bangladesh-Netherlands one, South Africa-Nepal, which is an absolute brilliant one, and Bangladesh-Nepal as well. And Pramod, all those 3 games have seen the teams win, of course, by batting first, right? So do you think it's going to be a toss agnostic venue with Afghanistan, Australia then?
Yeah, it very well could be. Actually, Afghanistan's, although, yeah, we've seen their pacers suddenly come to the party this time. I still think on this track at St. Vincent, I know they've played on a couple of pitches in St. Vincent. I think both have helped spinners quite well so far. So I think this time I think this game is the one that could very well be decided by how the spinners go, rather than, if Fazalak Farooqi or Naveenullah up top picking up wickets. So I think it falls right into Afghanistan's alley. So on that front, yeah, I mean, win the toss and probably bat first. I think I would prefer having runs on the board, given that's what the trend is this venue as well. And then get 120, 125 and make life difficult for the Aussies. You never know what might happen.
Yeah, remember, Afghanistan have to win this. And I know they came super close to beating Australia in an ICC tournament in India last year, but it was one Glenn Maxwell who absolutely stole the show that day. I just want to tell you all a few things about the game, because there are cause of concern for Afghanistan. I know Zazai came into the scheme of things, but he fell cheaply against India. So whether they stick with him or not. And of course, just keep an eye out for what Australia do, given the turning tracks in Kingstown. Will they get Ashnega, for example, or because I know Zampa and Maxwell does a lot of bowling for them, but will it be spin it to win it, essentially? Because I think there was one stat thrown at me by, of course, my team, and that is spinners have thrived in this venue, picked up 22 wickets at an economy rate of under 6. And expect more of the same when, of course, Rashid and Zampa will be in action on Saturday night. So, look, it's going to be fantastic. We're going to talk about it in tomorrow's What's Up World Cup and review it for you all. But 2 cracking games. One we're doing the watch-along for, and one we're, of course, going to be covering it in terms of the early morning coverage. Right. Afghanistan batting has deteriorated, saying Greg K. and Muthu VMR saying I think the Netherlands was Bangladesh pitch. We saw 159, but I'm not sure are there any matches was played on that pitch. Yeah, it was a different pitch indeed. The South Africa Nepal was on a different pitch, which I still feel how the hell Nepal cocked it up. They should have won it. And India should bat first and make a statement by scoring 200 plus runs and win by 50 odd runs. We would absolutely love that if that was the case. Right, final words then, guys. What is going to happen in terms of your predictions? So do you think it's going to be India and Australia again, and then we can happily say goodbye to Afghanistan and Bangladesh? Or like I said, there's going to be a cup set tonight. Pramod, you, and then Nikhil, and then we'll wrap up.
I'll go with India and Afghanistan, just for the heck of it.
Love it. I echo those thoughts. Nikhil, can we make it a house full?
Of course. I mean, you have to take revenge for that absolutely one of a lifetime knock. उसके बारे में मैं ज़्यादा नहीं बोलूँगा. It hurts. Thank you, Mujib, for the drop catch at short finally. But I mean, Afghanistan, as we've been discussing so much about Bangladesh, right? Afghanistan have a chance to just go a level up. Hopefully today is the day. Don't depend on the openers. Just do Jai Mata Di. And we have a lot of spin options. Please, just don't drop catches. Thank you.
No, it is true. Speaking of being dropped, we can drop off in just a bit right now. But a word, of course, to our fantastic team putting us some great content. Go check it all out. There's cricket.com Act, the latest episode. And that is Gautam Gambhir joining Team India. Go check it out. It's an absolute fun watch. It's a 60-second watch, literally. And Akash, you've been fantastic with all your comments. I don't think Jaiswal's going to come in. Vikas also saying something on the similar lines. But look, it's been an interactive, engaging show in the morning, and we really appreciate that going forward as well for more WhatsApp World Cups. But Pramod, Anand, Nikhil Popat, thank you so much for your time. And it's me, Avanish, signing off, where I will happily see you all, like I said, 7 hours and 13 minutes from now. Get a drink. I know it's Saturday. You guys might go out, but if you don't, of course, cricket.com is a one-stop destination for all things cricket. That's all we have time for. It's a goodbye from us. I can't believe we are doing the show and the rest of the office are all playing cricket, which is super close to my house. I know my producer's pissed off, but that's life, bro. That is life. We'll see you shortly. Take care. Cheers.